general is a little underrated right now, but in this game, I'm not quite seeing how he fits in exactly.
It's not very... I mean, I guess Pugna Decrep is good with Rocket Barrage. It's really good there, actually. I would say that's probably the best synergy, is that versus a Darkseer, and that's what they're expecting. If they Decrep him and they Rocket Barrage, he takes bonus damage, and it's currently 25%. It got changed slightly. The duration went up hugely at level 1. He used to do 40% extra, now it only does 25%. Oh, I'm sorry, that's on allies. Enemy scales from 30 to 60.
Yeah.
God, I didn't realize this ability actually scales really well now.
It's incredible.
It's actually very good now that I'm looking at it. And maybe Cloud9 has realized that. They're like, hey guys, Decrep is actually really good. So we just get a bunch of magic burst. We get a lot of kills using Decrep magic combos. And this is the synergy they're looking for. They're not using it as a Techies counter. They're not using it as a Skywrath counter. They're just trying to get the synergy here. And the same thing goes for Shuriken can toss a really high damage nuke. And they can combo that all together and prevent their opponents from taking an easy team fight with Nether Ward. That'll reflect damage and drain their mana.
Yeah. There is some synergy there. I would say that that's cute. It's really good in the laning stage, but if they can't find kills with it early on, again, if Complexity can find that kind of conservative positioning early on, I worry that I'm not articulating well. Cloud9 needs to get some kills with this kind of a strategy. Bounty Hunter, Pugna, if that's what they're going to go for, they need to kill some folks in the laning stage. If this is a bit more of a passive first 10 minutes, then I think Complexity will struggle once those mid-game team fights come out.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Cloud9 will struggle once
I
those
think
mid-game
both teams are slightly weak on ganking. I guess they have a Spirit Breaker, but other than that, there isn't a whole lot of setup. They don't have the reliability of having stuns on like all of their cores like they did in the previous game. I just love high stun drafts. It makes things a lot easier because anybody can be useful to a gank when you can stun your opponent and do a little bit of magic damage. Obviously, Lena's not a little bit, but I feel like they had so many rotation options. But this game, it's pretty much all coming down to Lina, Spirit Breaker, and their third hero that they pick.
Yeah, Viper as well as Wraith King, the final bans here. Complexity do not want to play against that tanky mid laner, though. I guess it could be Bone 7 playing on the puck, though.
It's a possibility.
I would assume it's Fata, really, that wants to take it mid.
Yeah, Fata definitely plays a lot of pucks, so I think that's a real possibility that it'll be him.
Yeah.
But they could play it off lane. I think that'd be a really good advantage versus Shadow Fiend, because if he gets out of position and there's a bounty there and you've got a puck, he's almost guaranteed dead, right? Because you just get right on top of him so he can't double raise you, he can only single raise you, and Puck can close that gap and chase a lot better than most other mids can. So he does have to worry about getting raised, but with a bounty, I feel like they can definitely push that advantage. If Shadow Fiend gets ahead, then Puck is pretty much useless at killing Shadow Fiend. They pick it again, another Sven. So I like this. It gives them more setup possibilities. They could just do a simple dual lane, and they're still a huge threat. And it scales so well for damage potential. The only downside is Pugna Decrep is quite good versus Sven. They can just make him unable to attack for 3.5 seconds, and that's a really big advantage in the early game before he gets BKB.
All right, and Rubik, the final choice here for Cloud9. So it will be Fata Puck. So does that mean it's Bone 7 on the Pugna here, headed to the off lane?
Ooh.
An odd lane setup here for Cloud9.
Bounty off lane?
Off lane bounty? Is that the way to do it?
That's what it seems like based on the draft.
We've seen him as a dedicated off laner so seldom. He's been almost exclusively on the farm. I can't think of one game that I've seen where he's been the true off laner.
Yeah, Bounty is rarely just an off lane hero, but it's decent, I guess, versus the amount of stuns that Complexity has, but the same thing goes once they find him. He's a really easy kill because they can do SB charge into Sven, Lina stun. Yeah. So there just has to be 2 heroes within chain stun range at all times of the bounty to get.
I feel like it's almost more likely that Pugna goes to the off lane, though.
God,
that's not really
that hero's
so great either.
One of the worst strength gains in the game. His survivability is low. Who cares if he gets chain stunned? He's chain stunned for like 3 seconds. I just don't feel like that's the solution.
All right, so who's playing what here?
It is
Bone 7 on the Pugna.
Okay, so they're aggressively tri-laning, I guess, and putting Pugna in the safe lane. That's actually way better, I think. I like that idea.
Okay, that definitely makes more sense.
Okay, so they do head to the rest of the tri-lane. Gyrocopter opting for the Mango, as per usual. And that makes their tri-lane actually pretty good. Bounty Hunter, Gyrocopter, Rubik, that gives the bounty the ability to roam mid if needed as well. What a nice good luck, have fun.
Oh, how nice. Smiley faces aplenty. So that'll put Bone 7 on the Pugna. Fata will take the puck to the mid lane. And Misery, he'll be here on the Rubik. Gets a ward down on that top rune spawn. And they'll hold their other ward for now. Same ward here from Complexity. They put this early one down in the last game. They really like this spot to get a little bit of intel on that bottom rune and just see if there are any rotations coming into their jungle or headed towards the mid lane.
Yeah, it didn't help them that much last game because it was a Spirit Breaker, but even still, a really good place for wards, it seems, is the area where Bounty pops Invis to approach a lane. If you have a ward in that area, he's not going to be able to use it earlier than that because the duration is very low, only 20 seconds at level 1. So most of the time you'll see him pop Invis as he gets close. So if you put those wards slightly to the side, you can get some value out of it.
Good point. Radiant side, looks like things will be fairly predictable from Complexity in terms of who's playing what. Fly once again will be on his Lina. Swindle will take the Shadow Fiend once more mid. And Ziz on the Sven, 3 for 3 here. Z-Freak, he'll be on the Spirit Breaker on the 4, and that puts Moon Meander on the Darkseer. And it looks like Complexity will also be doing the aggro try, same as they did in the last game.
I think this is really good for Complexity. I think they again get the lanes that they want, and C9, I feel like as a team is a bit weak at predicting their opponent's lanes, and a lot of times they get into a bad position in their early game because I really feel like this is a better setup for them. They can dive the Pugna, they can solo kill him easily, and it's just a Darkseer versus what, a Gyrocopter. Gyro's okay versus Darkseer and all, but if they're committing all these supports to just a single Darkseer, it's kind of bad. He might actually die down there. And
they don't have that synergy of the decrep into that rocket barrage like you were talking about, so kill potential a little bit more limited.
Oop.
And up top, Bone 7, could this be the first
He
blood?
mangoes for it.
He mangoes indeed. He gets that Storm Hammer off, and now Bone 7 trying to eat his way through the trees. One more auto attack will do it, and Fly secures the first blood. Ziz not going to be able to make it out, though. It's a 1-for-1, and Bone will get a kill from the grave.
I mean, he does get the first blood, so it's a gold advantage, but if he doesn't buy out there, and he actually can't, he didn't get boots out of it, then it's not maybe the best. Moon. That looks like a dead Moon.
He's some trouble here. He does have a surge, but
there's so many
he's
heroes.
Definitely going down. Trying to do a little damage to Misery. He can before falling. That'll make it 2-1 here as Cloud9 pulls into the lead with hero kills.
Yeah, a bit unnecessary for him to die there, I feel. And again, Fly was the one that got the first blood on the top lane, so he's going to be able to get a fast boot. Ooh. No, sorry, I missed it.
No. So, yep. Yeah, good stuff for Fly. Like we talked about last game, he got a lot of momentum, and I think he'll be happy to transition into a core if possible, based off this. Looks like Bounty Hunter will die to some neutrals here. Seems to be an intentional suicide into the Ancients, no surprise.
Didn't want to spend his regen to heal. I thought it would be better just to spend your money and end up killing yourself.
Lots of pings up top. Bone 7 will be initiated on again. Can Fly get it? Nope, sidestep by Bone. He will.
Fly actually in trouble now.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Oh, the decrep. A lot of damage.
He's got a salve though.
Not going to be able to finish him off.
Okay, a little scary there from Fly, but it worked out. Moon. Oh, that looks like a Misery kill to me.
Yep, absolutely. He'll try to deny into Roche. Can they find the proper timing here? He'll try to clip Z-Freak. Nope, doesn't even go for it. Gets a bash for good measure to make sure Roche is not up to any kind of trickery. Now back to the top lane is Bone 7 in some trouble in the trees. Hits a Nether Blast on 2. Him and Ziz just running into each other as he's decrept, and now Bone will be sent back to the well. Not much he could do once locked in the trees there. A lot of action already in this game. Purge 4-2 at only the 2.5-minute mark.
That was kind of a lot of regen that they were forced to use there. Like the Selves keep coming out during the decrep because they know that they're not going to take any more damage. And Sven went for that, but they're fighting so often that he's already out of regen. And he doesn't even have boots money yet, unless it's flying out on the courier or walking out on the courier.
No, he's actually buying regen. He got another set of tangos and a clarity.
And that's kind of what he needs here so that they can keep killing the Pugna. That's the most important part.
Well, at least he's got that magic stick, racking up some charges. Bone 7 doing surprisingly well here in this 2v1 lane setup. Oh, down bottom, Moon in some trouble once more. Rocket Barrage doing some pretty decent damage.
Too.
Yeah, charge onto Misery. Moon, oh, he's tanking a lot here. Creeps trying to absorb some of the damage, but he'll fall before the Spirit Breaker can even get here. Will Z-Freak go for it? Nope, canceled as he approaches the enemy.
I feel like Moon's trying way too hard to outplay them. He's just sticking by the creeps, but I think maybe he's just getting caught a lot, and at that point, once he gets lifted, he's committed, basically. If he ran away from the creeps and he got lifted, he would definitely die there. A little bit of blocking from No-Tail here puts a slowdown, Iron Shell in return, but I mean, that Rocket Barrage actually isn't doing too much. They lift him and throw him back here, but I don't think they're going to get this kill on. Moon Meander actually taking a ton of damage now. More TPs coming. This is Sven this time, but it was a TP after Darkseer already TP'd, so it was a very, very long TP, and as a result, wasted gold again from the Sven.
Yeah, he ends up canceling it, and we'll just walk to the top lane.
Still no boots.
Bootless here. Yeah, this is a bit rocky for the Sven. He is very low on the CS chart. actually behind that of the Lina. So maybe it will become a support Sven at this point, as Fly is here racking up farm, already has arcane boots.
That's actually really amazing. And if he gets a fast level 6, it could be similar to what we saw the previous game, where he goes on a rampage, continues to get solo kills versus cores, and ends up having a huge impact.
Yeah. Z-Freak level 3 on the Spirit Breaker, 1-1-1 opener. Doing what he can, has 1-0-0 in terms of KDA. All things considered, having a decent time.
I think he's pretty happy with that as a whole. Moonmeander might get caught again. They're swinging around from the backside. There's the Rocket Barrage doing a lot of damage, but not quite enough.
Yep, surge enough to get him out.
He's actually taking so much this game, just in the bot lane.
He's going to have to walk back to the well. Oof.
Those damage tank stat, I would like to know that one. He is just
damage taken.
The damage.
Looks like mid lane is just an even farm fest here. Both Puck and Shadow Fiend very comparable on that CS chart. Whoa, Fly! He gets the snipe onto Bone 7. Very nice.
How does Lina do this, man? How does Fly keep doing this? It's amazing.
I don't have a good answer for you. He's got the skills. That's all I can say.
Maybe he was just jungling by himself, and he's like, oh, hey, there's a hero here, and then he gets the kill.
Yeah. I only caught the tail end of that one. Big Daddy poking around the mid lane here. It is 5.5 minutes, so sniping the courier, much easier said than done, though, hoping that Complexity will be just sloppy with it. They will not, however. Flying it over the tree line, being very cautious with their donkey.
So Swindle Melon's having a much better game than the previous one, which means that his farm could actually be ridiculously insane by the 10-minute mark, as we usually expect to see from Shadow Fiend. So, and versus a Puck, there is kill possibility there, but again, their gank is a bit weak.
Look at this control with the courier here, though, just leaving it over the tree line.
I mean, I think he's saving it for the bottle crow either way. Z-Freak may be in trouble, gets initiated on by Fada, throws the orb for the rune, makes Swindle Melons make a hard decision, and he ends up getting the rune stolen from him.
Oh yeah, regen picked up by Swindle.
Got it? What? I thought for sure Puck would have grabbed that. I guess he was a little early.
Yeah. All right, well, good stuff for Swindle. Gets a regen in the bottle, almost level 7. Take a look at net worth, and he is #1 by just a couple hundred gold over the Puck. The off lane for Complexity is now going quite well. Fly, cutting the creep wave, pulling into the easy camp. He's found his level 6, and now him and Ziz will start to pressure this tier 1 tower.
Ziz finally picking up his boots, which is really what he needed there to be more survivable. Those first couple lanes, well, Fly in trouble, took a lot of damage from the small camp here, and he's going to have to ulti this before he dies, I think, but No Tail doesn't have boots yet, whereas Fly does. I can't believe he has that advantage. There's the nuke. They can't see him. He's invis here. I'm guessing they don't have detection.
Nope. No detection.
Is there some on Z-Freak, though?
That is the question. There's not. And
so
he'll even cancel the charge before he gets there.
He is quite stuck.
Well, that's unfortunate. We'll be able to charge out here in just a couple seconds, but less than ideal.
So luckily for Fly there, doesn't end up feeding his killing spree. He's going to have some gold given when he does end up dying eventually.
Shadow Fiend still farming very nicely, now starting to work the jungle. He's got a double stack here at the hard camp. Nothing at this hard camp here, but still utilizing the advantage of Shadow Fiend on the Radiant side. You can poke in and out of the lane. Moon still struggling here in the safe lane. Only level 5. I guess it could be worse.
He's getting set up on a little bit here. Rubik's trying to wrap around. Puts the ward down. They probably spotted him through the trees. Yeah, there's the ping.
Yeah.
Man, they are so good about spotting out ganks.
They really are. Moon playing much more conservative now, like you mentioned before.
They do not know No Tail is sitting up there. Kind of good positioning. Ooh, he actually breaks the clarity potion. Nicely done there. He attacked while he was going invis, so he doesn't actually waste his invis. But if he was slightly wrong about that timing, he would be 100% dead.
Yeah. Tower ends up going down. Last hit does go to Sven. Some recovery gold there. Radiant will use their glyph, but they won't be able to mount a defense. That Nether Blast taking this tower down very quickly, and they will give the last hit to Envy on his gyrocopter. Envy having a much better time this game than he did last match as well.
Oh yeah.
#2 on net worth and farming up to his heart's content.
Yeah, we're going to see him be a huge threat this game for sure. If he does get the early start that he's used to, I know for a fact that he's going to play well, but sometimes you get behind. And you get tilted, and you think that the only thing you can do is try to do greedy farming. And I've heard Envy say that, well, just do some greedy farming where you know you're going to die. Gank on Moon here.
Moon, smart idea to run across the other way. He'll try to juke him out. Call down will fall just a little bit short, as will the orb of a illusory orb. But yeah, telekinesis catches him. Nowhere to go. He had some stick charges. Won't even try to burn those. They'll instead use this time to pressure the tier 1 tower mid. Double damage up on Swindle, making this a pretty easy tower siege. Even Ziz on his way over. He's popped the war cry now. God's Strength coming up in about 10 seconds. They will secure that tower. So good exchange here for Complexity. They end up trading 2 for 1 in terms of tier 1 towers.
I think they're pretty happy about that because they completely opened up their opponent's jungles. And while C9 is doing pretty well on the gyrocopter, that's really their only carry potential. So if they know where he's probably farming, or at least they guarantee that they have control over his jungle, then it becomes a bit easier to get those kills.
Yeah, Misery getting dove here. Laguna Blade to the face, not enough to finish him off. Fly gets taken out as he's the victim of a Dream Coil. A little over-aggression there from Complexity, and they get punished.
Yeah, rare mistake from him. He really thought that Rubik was going to die to that, and he didn't. So killing spree goes to Puck instead, and that's going to get Puck a very fast blink dagger.
Yeah, that's a good point. One of the worst heroes on from Complexity's perspective to end that spree. Now Fata only about 400 gold off the blink, and that's when he can start to erupt on this Puck and start to take control of the game and create some momentum for his team. He's already 1-0-1. So even though he's been farming a lot, still has had an impact in these few skirmishes.
And they have very dynamic ganks this game, unlike last. They can gank with Puck, they can gank with Bounty, Rubik, and Pugna, all very good. Even Gyro, all 5 of their heroes can form combinations to gank, so it's going to be a lot harder for Complexity to anticipate and predict where those are coming from.
Yep. We got a charge here from the Spirit Breaker. Looks like he'll be going on to Big Daddy.
Got a
this
dust.
time he's got detection. Yeah, dust and sentries. He will dust him up. There is some support inbound, but Fly just a little bit too far back. Connects with the Dragon Slave. Not enough damage for the kill, as there is no Laguna Blade still on cooldown for another 5 seconds or so. Meanwhile, in the Radiant jungle, Bone 7 walks into the danger zone, gets the Nether Ward down, but it doesn't matter. It'll just be extra gold going the way of Complexity as they get a freebie on the Pugna.
Yeah, Moon uses the wall there, but I think that's completely fine. It's actually a quite big nuke at level 150 damage,
yeah.
And it's a spell that only costs 125 mana. The cooldown's really big, but he doesn't even have vacuum levels yet, so it just helps guarantee those kills. It's a great spell to cast in the early game in any gank situation like that, where it's kind of close.
Yeah. And Swindle Melon's going for a very similar build compared to last go-around. Aquila power treads to get things started. Now right into the mech so they can start grouping up, continue sieging, and do what Complexity does best aside from sieging towers, take team fights in the mid-game.
So Ziz is a bit underfarmed compared to where he was in the previous game, just sitting on treads with the wand here, but he is rotating a lot, so his playstyle hasn't changed very much, and if he plays as well as he did in terms of ganks, he's going to be able to recover this no problem. But his mana pool is still a little bit low, and it's not quite as easy as it was in the previous game, because his attack speed's slower, all that stuff. Misery's going to die for sure, though. Yep. Good attempt on him, but
not living through that one.
Complexity did a good job going in there. They didn't completely group up, they didn't let the telekinesis make that harder than it needed to be. Just a very easy kill there for Complexity. Sven gets a kill, and they're trying to take another tower to destroy the farm position of C9.
Yeah, now we talked about ways of dealing with, we'll hold that thought here as Eternal Envy gets initiated on by Ziz. He might be in a little deep here. Dream Coil gets whiffed by Fata, but they will just let Ziz go down. The rest of Complexity on the back foot is now Bone 7's here doing a lot of damage to Z-Freak. Will get stunned up by Fly. Spirit Breaker charge going the other way to make the escape. Big Daddy walking over a Sentry Ward, but they won't have any way to punish it. Meanwhile, on the backside, Fly gets left behind, turning into a disaster for Cloud9. Z-Freak trying to get aggressive. He will dust, but ends up falling as well. It's a 3-0 with Swindle now on the run. Moonmeander nowhere to be found, just split pushing in the bottom lane as Swindle will eat his stick charges and live. Oof.
So the game is just a lot harder for Complexity than the previous one, and they're not executing their team fights nearly as well. I feel like they needed a ward on the high ground there to really know what was going on, but they're actually getting contested at their towers, and maybe C9 did need to do that more in the previous game, because now they're actually getting kills out of it, and they're punishing mistakes that Complexity is making.
It also felt like just a miscommunication with Ziz going in so deep up here, the rest of his team kind of isolated on this side of the plateau. They couldn't really commit as a unit. Now down in the bottom lane, Moonmeander initiated on by the stolen Charge of Darkness from Misery. He will be okay for now. Again, those stick charges coming in handy, and he will just surge back to safety.
Yeah, he's got a cloak too, and Puck didn't have his ulti, so... Yeah. I mean, the fight wasn't even that amazing for C9. The Puck ended up, I think that's why he went forward on the gyro, because he was anticipating getting Dream Coiled, and the Puck Dream Coil ended up completely missing. But once he positioned himself towards the tower, his best chance there was really just right-clicking Envy and trying to go for that kill. And he was kind of close, but really doesn't have enough damage here. They're going to find Eternal Envy, though, need the Storm Hammer. There's the first one, and the stun follow-up, and that is a dead hero. Yep. Shadow Fiend shifts over, but I don't think he was going to get that kill regardless, so...
Okay. Oh. My Valve phone is ringing. Sorry, Valve. In a game right now.
We're busy.
All right. So yeah, nice little gank there for Complexity deep in the enemy jungle, pressuring MB, who, although farming much better than last game, still isn't really balling out of control. He's going for this exact same build with the HOD to farm the jungle, stack Ancients with that neutral creep, and we're still seeing Swindle with very impressive farm. #1 on net worth by a nice little margin. We'll just glance at the graphs and, well, it tells a pretty good story about how close this game is, though Complexity has been consistently sitting in the lead. Fata and Swindle will have a skirmish over the rune, and again, Swindle secures it. Fata in kind of an awkward position, but he will live. Meanwhile, on the other side, Z-Freak left behind in the jungle and just obliterated compliments of that decrep.
That was some synergy right there. That's a hero that's normally quite tanky, but his HP is actually not that high right now due to being support. He doesn't have any treads yet. He's pretty much just squishy to magic damage, so it's good synergy against him. I like it.
Even just 1 point in that decrep, the Shuriken Toss and Fade Bolt, that is a huge amount of burst damage. All right.
In terms of farm levels between the carries, Sven is not caught up to Gyro at all, I feel, but the Shadow Fiend is far ahead of all of them, so I feel like Shadow Fiend is still going to be a big issue for Gyro, especially if he's able to get his Scotty before Gyro gets his B-Fly in the late game. Obviously, that's a couple items away, but we saw it last game. It made the Gyro completely useless if SF did get that Scotty picked up, so that's really the timing that I think is going to be more imperative here, because Sven needs some items to be useful, but it's really just Mask of Madness and a BKB before he starts four-shotting some heroes. So maybe not quite four-shotting, but as long as Sven gets a couple, I think he's still going to be relevant here.
Well, he's got the Mask of Madness completed now. It's on the way via the Courier. Still a ways off the BKB, but his farm is in that middle ground. Not amazing, but still very recoverable if they can take a decent team fight or two. Still haven't really seen Complexity play around this mech from Swindlemelons, though, and when a Shadow Fiend picks up a mech this early on, it's definitely not for farming. That's a sign you want to group up and team fight, and, well, as I say that, they group up as 4 here in the top lane. Moon will stay down bottom and try to defend this incoming push from Bone 7 and Eternal Envy. This could end up being good for Complexity if they can get a free tier 2 tower out of this, and could possibly even come back to defend if C9 commit for this bottom tower. The Wall of Replica already deployed preemptively here. I
don't know if they can even win this fight, honestly, because they've already used the ultimate of Sven. They're lacking that damage pretty massively, and now they need to back up. Their Observer Ward's up. They're going to spot out the Bounty Hunter. Can Fly get a solo kill? No. They're going to get tracked, so this is tough. Most of Complexity is moving towards the top tower, but they're a lot more hesitant than they were in the last game. They don't have as much wiggle room by having the Wisp there. Anyone that gets initiated on is much more likely to die. They don't have as much movement speed to use as positioning, so this game is much harder for them to take an advantage over C9.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams will kind of be stalemated there at the tier 2 towers. Aside from that,
I'm sorry, it was Fado. I thought he was going to set up top. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, before that last fight, it seemed like they were doing such a good job keeping this Bounty Hunter at bay, where Big Daddy's been leeching experience here and there, but only 1-1 and 2. That's still a pretty low KDA for a Bounty Hunter at 16 minutes.
It is, but it's been 3 of the 9 kills. It's a semi-kill participation. I think it's all right, but it is a bit low for sure. I think it's just that the game is kind of weird. Complexity is doing a lot of aggressive farming, and they're trying to take these towers, and I think C9's not always completely sure where the enemy team is. Yeah, and that was more of a praise of how Complexity have not overextended to give Big Daddy opportunities to find free kills rather than, accusing Big Daddy of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just hasn't been an easy game for the Bounty Hunter. There haven't been too many opportunities for him to get little pickoffs here and there. For the most part, Complexity have a very beefy lineup. I like the smoke they did here. They spotted the C9 one with their ward, so they waited about 20 seconds and they use their smoke. They wait for the C9 to break and then they go for the initiation. There's the war cry. The charge as well. This should be Bone 7 dying no matter what. Very, very easy kill. And this could lead to them taking a tower. 42 seconds left for Pugna. He's very high leveled because he's a fast farmer, so this is the advantage that Complexity wanted. They immediately send Swindlemelons back to the mid lane to continue farming, and they're just distributing their time so well on this team. Like, that's part of the reason that C9 hasn't been able to get as many ganks off, because they pressure top so much, it forces C9 to elicit a response and have to sit a couple heroes there. I mean, Puck's been in position to gank Shadow Fiend multiple times, but his team just isn't around to help out due to the fact that they constantly have to go top to defend. So by putting pressure up there, Complexity is actually protecting their Shadow Fiend in a really great way. Yeah, and now they'll move into this tower. They don't have much detection, though they do have some dust on the Spirit Breaker, who's also level 6. So if Big Daddy does show himself, they might be able to catch him out. Tracks starting to stack up here. Just 2 out for now, but here we go. He's gonna lead for the ult, doesn't get it. Oh, God Strength hasn't been used yet. That's just a war cry. Glyph already comes out on the tier 2 tower. C9 almost dead. They're collapsing in though. This looks good. Envy. Oh, what the initiation!
He catches 4 on a coil. The call down's going to connect on 4 as well. Mech from Complexity, but it's not enough. Cloud9 finally finding the fight they've been looking for. Laguna Blade not going to be enough for the kill either. It's a full 5-0 exchange. Cloud9 securing an ultra kill on Bone 7.
They didn't even have vacuum, and they were all vacuumed together. That was the most clumped team I've ever seen, and a very rare mistake from Complexity leads to a complete 5-man wipe. You don't even have to be Fada to land that Dream Coil, but he nailed it, man. They just completely grouped up. They stayed a little bit too long, and C9 was in perfect positioning to punish that. Like, they were going to get kills there no matter what because they stayed a bit too long. They used Warcry just to tank the tower, which means when the actual fight happens, the right clicks are serious. But not that that even would have saved them. That Shuriken started the fight off, hit like 5 heroes because No Tail was so set up, and then the puck combo, when done to all heroes, puts them low already, and then the entire rest of the team is able to follow up.
That's like that, was the King to Ka, that roller coaster they've got that's just nothing but a straight downward spiral for 10 seconds. That's what this gold graph is here. So many track kills. Cloud9 have effectively taken control of this game. Very impressive stuff. That secures Eternal Envy his BKB. No big surprise there. Anything else on this courier? Nope, just the Black King bar. But Envy doing so much damage in that fight, setting up for the perfect call down and then all that flat cannon damage on top of it.
Yeah. C9 did such a good job this early game compared to the previous one. They defended against some of the ganks. They were able to slow down the tower pushes. They just didn't let Complexity take all the towers for free. And now they're in a good spot. Oh, pulling ZZ back. There's the ult as well. He's getting kind of low. Doesn't have Warcry just up. He's almost going to break the tether. He does break it. Called on lands on him. He's going to die. Oh, the mech's going to save him just barely, but they're losing 2 other heroes, and he's still going to fall. 3 dead heroes now for Complexity. And C9 pushing their advantage. They've got the BKBs. They've got the core items. They've got the initiating heroes. And Complexity is not looking nearly as strong in the team fight. So can they play from behind now? Because they are very clearly behind. That's 8 uncontested kills in a row for C9 now. And they got tracks on top of that.
C9 just erupting with a fury of momentum here. They'll take out this tier 2 tower pretty handily, and they may just want to rotate top and finish off this last tier 1. They're hitting a 1 peak of their power curve here with this BKB on Envy, and they are eager to take fights if they can continue to do this. That'll be another tower down. And a larger gold lead for the Dire. Now even a Yule's Scepter coming out on the puck as they rotate bottom. Or pardon me, never mind. Just Big Daddy. I thought they were TPing to that tier 1, but just Big Daddy stalking him out.
He's got a fast Glimmer Cape too.
Yeah.
I like the pickup though. It's going to stop any Lina follow-up damage, which is a large amount of the burst damage that Complexity is going to be throwing out. Will they see the initiation? Puck's going to be going for... No, they're actually not going to go in. I think they're anticipating him being covered. And look how confidently he just goes forward and farms. He's been doing this consistently, and it tricks your opponents a lot. You're like, wow, that guy's playing so aggressively. He's not reacting at all to the fact that I got tracked, and he knows that his team will be there eventually. And yeah, it doesn't give anything away there. He just keeps farming, and nobody's willing to gank him because he's playing aggressive. He's playing confident.
Big pickup for the Rubik here. Misery able to secure his Blink Dagger. Always a scary item in the hands of the Grand Magus as Misery blinks down and actually breaks the smoke for Complexity. It'll probably cost him his life. There's nowhere for him to go. Gets off a telekinesis before he goes down. But all things considered, if it's just a dead Rubik, and that could have been an unfortunate gank where they pick up a few others,
Ooh, and
Cloud9 could be okay with that trade.
Here's the problem with the towers that Complexity aimed for. It doesn't cover them in the Roche pit. It makes Roche a little bit more likely and harder to defend, really. Puck Warp is going to come through, hit nails and swim on. There's a call line, and might catch. Everybody does. Flies low, the ward from the high ground. How do you stop the damage? But they're actually doing it. They just killed 3 heroes, and nobody went down there. I can't believe it.
It was a great setup from Cloud9, but I don't know what happened. Envy didn't get to use his BKB, and he just got evaporated.
Oh, jeez. That's
what happened, I guess. There it is.
That's very clear. He must have gotten Stormhammered into Lina stun. That's why Lina went low to the Death Ward, because they had to take that opportunity. If you're able to initiate stun a Gyrocopter, you got to go all in there, because if you kill him, that's what happens. The main damage output of C9 is gone, and Complexity coming back in this, all from a free Rubik kill. Something that Rubik honestly was unable to expect, not seeing Complexity, and then that led to just a slightly poor team fight for C9, a late BKB, and it completely changes the game and puts Complexity back in it. Yeah,
it's still a gold lead for C9, but even footing here with an Aegis on the Shadow Fiend. They can look for some aggressive plays and continue taking map objectives here. A double stacked Ancients will be cleared out as Moon Meander picks up the Vanguard now.
I actually like that. I feel like this is a rare Crimson Guard game. because Gyrocopter is not super far ahead. Flat Cannon will hit everybody, and it does physical damage. You can damage block that. And if you imagine every single person taking blocking that damage with Crimson Guard, you're talking about a lot of numbers. It's going to be pretty equivalent to a mech at some point. Blocks when you activate it 55. So that's Gyro's hitting for only about 130 right now. He'll obviously grab maybe a Sanjin Yasha afterwards. I doubt it'll be a big damage item, and as a result, it's going to block a lot of damage on these, and they're going to have armor on top of that, so they damage block on top, and then tons of armor. They're going to have tons of survivability due to this.
Yeah, Crimson's really good against teams that have a lot of summons. You know, heroes like Beastmaster or what have you, Necronomicon carriers, but it's also just good to mitigate damage in general. The auto attacks really add up in these team fights. Even heroes like Puck, those auto attacks matter, and when you're mitigating 50% of that,
before armor.
Yeah, before armor, it really makes a big difference. We'll see Moon here up against Bone 7. We'll force Bone to mech up, and wow, this Pugna is actually decently farmed. He's got a full soul booster to go with his mechanism.
Pugna farms so fast, man. His base damage is really high, so his right click is high, and then he has the highest int gain in the game, so tons of mana, which means any percentage-based mana regen that you get is going to really pump you up. And it looks like he's going for... I'm going to assume this is Octarine, but I'm not 100%. It seems a little weird.
The cool thing with Octarine is you can get the double Nether Ward down for a couple of seconds there. You get like a 3 or 4 second window. So Lina, for example, can completely cripple her.
Charge coming mid. Will he BKB?
He does have a haste.
Doesn't, but he's far away. Oh, will they get the chainsaw? They do. He's going to go down.
Oh, it's not enough.
He had to BKB there. Again, not BKBing. I guess he just didn't think the rest of the heroes were there.
That time he was hasted up, though, so I can see why he would have thought Envy. There was a haste on the gyro, so I think that's why he thought he could get away and just wasn't quite ready for all that burst damage with the Laguna.
Bash on Misery now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That'll be an easy kill. And that's just a series of unfortunate pickoffs for Cloud9.
They had the game in their hands, but that Roche fight went bad, and now losing their carry once again. Fada going to do some damage. He's just trying to counter push out bot lane, but it's, man, they had the game in their hands. They defended so well in the early game, but a couple more teamfight losses, and Complexity is back in it completely. They're going to take another tower here. They'll defend bottom. Might be a gank bottom.
March onto Fata. He does phase shift to stun. He'll be able to blink away on the backside of it. Big Daddy's nearby. They get the tier 2 in the mid lane, and now Complexity will just rotate down and see if they can grab a couple kills. They ping out the tier 1 in the bottom lane, so they'll push this out and just continue taking these outer towers. S and Y on the Shadow Fiend now, and I think BKB is about out for the Sven.
Oh, they're trying for it.
Oh, here we go.
Can do this.
Ziz needs to be careful. In comes Z-Freak, though. They've got the dust now. It's Big Daddy who's on the run. A bash onto Fata. That'll secure the kill on that side. Big Daddy juking and jiving in the trees, but it's not enough. Z-Freak finds him, smashes him with the lantern, and it's another duo of kills going the way of Team Complexity.
C9 would have been really happy to get that kill, but it was so dangerous. I mean, Bounty Hunter with those items, kind of weak damage. Puck as well, a very good initiating core, but kind of weak damage. And if they miss the kill, they have to deal with the Spear Breaker charge, and that's what happens. He charges in on the Puck, he pops the dust, and they guarantee the double kill. And C9 just keeps making these little mistakes and these slightly bad calls and slightly bad team fights, and Complexity's punishing them. They're just too disciplined.
Well, they get the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. The tier 2 will be glyphed out by C9, but it won't stop the siege. This will be the end of the outer towers as Complexity take more and more map control. All the while, Bone 7 doing some split pushing in the top. He will secure the kill on this tower and then TP's home. Fly almost with that LSA cooldown, but not quite. Ziz couldn't TP in time to get a kill on the Pugna.
Nicely done by Pugna there. Ooh, Shadow Fiend looks like he's dead, honestly. He's being chased down.
Yeah, it's tracked up as well. He'll be intercepted by the gyro, or will he? Nether Strike onto Eternal Envy, gets the second bash, a third bash as well. Z-Freak finding some RNG, BKBs popped aplenty. Swindle will stand his ground, he wants Envy, but will be forced back. Moon rotating his way over, does have a wall of replica, but Complexity don't have the numbers advantage, and they will disengage. Swindle surviving there is just a victory for Complexity.
I liked his play there. I think both players in Complexity played well. Z-Freak guaranteed that the gyro couldn't do a lot of damage to Swindle.
Yeah, that guaranteed stun lock there with the triple bash.
Yeah, well, one of those was a charge, I think, but
it was I think he nether striked and then got 2 bashes in a row.
So when you charge into somebody, you don't automatically get the bash, right?
Yeah.
It's the heroes that you're passing through that get bash, to my knowledge. I might be wrong though.
Let's see.
And the targeted unit will be hit by a greater bash. So I don't even know if he got lucky there. He just guaranteed the chainsaw on the gyro and helped the Shadow Fiend stay alive, and almost led to a gyro kill. But again, Complexity playing it safe. They don't go for the overdrive. They have the advantage at this position. Even though the gold graphs are kind of close, I think they're sitting really, really pretty right now.
Yeah.
It looks like only a moderate advantage. Might see the stun. Bone7 gets caught.
He is in some trouble here. There is some support nearby, though. Fata's there. There will be a long-range charge from the Spirit Breaker. Yeah, BKB used. He still uses the Dream Coil. There's your Glimmer Cape. That'll give Ziz a little bit of time to go for the Nether Ward there, and no way Bone7 can get out on the other side of it. Fata on the run. We'll have to orb forward, but Swindle, he's ready and waiting for it. Fata can't jaunt to the orb, and instead will try to juke back the other way. He's got a phase shift here, but now they'll move him into the tree line. There's the Yules.
Again, the charge.
Oh, my.
They know exactly where he is. Oh, now they don't.
Okay, Fata with the cheeky plays. He'll be able to make it home. Very nicely done. Some space created while the rest of his team pressures the side lanes.
Like, very small mistake there by Moon. I think he should have Iron Shelled the Spirit Breaker to help stop the blink. Because if you can do damage to Puck, he can't blink. And he needed to have the Iron Shell to do the instantaneous damage. So Puck was able to blink to the right and then do the orb. If he has to orb to get out, it's a bit easier to figure out where he is. But once he gets the blink, he's gone.
Yeah.
But very small mistake. They still get the Pugna out of that. Very nice setup from Ziz. He really doesn't play carry like a typical carry. He's not like a farm all the time. It's really more of a, I look for picks, I sit with my team, I do what my team needs. I don't aim for the super late game with the items. I feel like he's really active, and though his farm is suffering as a result, it's leading to more ganks and more setups and more pressure on the map that C9's not used to.
Yeah. It made a lot more sense in Game 1 when he was paired with the Wisp to see him rotate so much, but it's interesting to see in back-to-back games here how he plays basically the same style with or without that taxi service. And in both games now, to decent effect. There is a Sentry Ward down here for the Radiant. Big Daddy needs to be a little bit careful. It could potentially set a trap, but no, they will scatter as Envy tries to split push down bottom. Envy is in Rapier territory here.
Is this the Rapier? I think it's a little scary here. They're kind of throwing some team fights. Bit of a charge coming in. What is this?
Charging across, going for Bone7, and that was
weird. Okay, he's like, that was stupid, I'm dead.
Okay, he's got teammates here.
Oh, great Glimmer.
Glimmer, yeah, all right.
I really like the Glimmer pickup on Moon this game. It was great.
That was really bold, though. That was a pretty crazy charge. Envy TPing out down bottom. Swindle with no way to interrupt.
He's like, he's farming my jungle, that bastard.
Yeah. It is the MKB, though.
Okay.
So he'll play it safe.
I like this. I think he definitely needs a damage item here. Sanjay and Yasha would be way too weak. If he goes S and Y, he's just trading items basically with Shadow Fiend, and Shadow Fiend is ahead of him, so you can't do that. You need a way to kill your opponent. If your carry is ever at a point where he can't do damage to the enemy carry, you've got a problem. So when you're playing carry, you often have to look at your opponent's items and say, okay, he's about to get this. I need this to counter him. Yules to break the track there. Yep.
And now we see a charge onto Fata. Ziz on the side, stuns up Misery.
Oh, they're running.
Freak in potentially some trouble here. Dream Coil is still available. Trying to decide where to use it. Now Lina in some trouble.
Good Glimmer.
Glimmer a cape as well. She makes it out. On the backside, Ziz pops the BKB. He goes charging in. Moon's here as well, looking for a wall vacuum setup, but can't get the positioning. BKB'd Envy, soon to expire. Nether Strike will knock him back. Call down will connect on most of the team, but it doesn't seem to matter. Vacuum into the wall. Replica. Huge Requiem. They will lose the Lina, but they get the gyrocopter they came for. Now Bone7 on the run. He'll fall as well. Fata looking for some cleanup kills. Finally deploys the Dream Coil, but they save the mech this whole time. Misery in a lot of trouble. He'll die to the urn, it looks like, as Z-Freak tries to make it out. Maybe, just maybe, the Rubik can make it back to the well. No, he dies to the last tick before he gets the regen. Now Fata trying to orb away. He will jaunt to the high ground. He'll be the lone survivor, but Complexity completely taking this team fight. All of his teammates are down. If they can kill the Puck here, it will be a full team wipe. Fata just trying to keep them distracted instead of going for the towers, but Moon, he knows better. He wants the objectives.
Man, Z-Freak played that fight so well. Like, it looked completely like Moon was going to die, but the charge came through, caught two. He didn't waste any time on the Rubik at all. Moon's going to end up dying here most likely. He's not tracked. They don't know where he is. He's got to search. All right, he's going to live.
He's juking and he's jiving. He lives.
But that was, seriously, Z-Freak played that fight so perfect. He didn't overdive on the Rubik. He throws the urn. Misery had a great play to wand and try to TP back. It was his only way of living, but it was, he got back to Fountain and then he died. But Z-Freak played that fight so well. So many good tracks. And he had such a rough early to mid game as well. Now he's completely recovered. Like, it is very hard to play Spirit Breaker in a support position, in my opinion, because you have to know the limits of your hero. And he's not relying on bashes to win. He's just playing his hero correctly, using his abilities exactly when he needs to, and getting back out and re-engaging. So props to Z-Freak in that fight. I think he completely carried his team.
Yeah, 100%. And I will open up for another Roshan here for Complexity. Aegis the Immortal on the Shadow Fiend. And AC again for the Sven, not too far away, just needs one more armor piece. Also Shadow Blade picked up by the Spirit Breaker, so much item progression on this Radiant side. You look over at the Dire and Bone, he seems to have given
Still
up
got
on
the booster, I guess?
this, Octarine or whatever he wanted out of it, because now there's just a Staff of Wizardry.
I think the Glimmer Cape is really smart. I don't think it's that bad to divert from his item build, because Octarine, in my opinion, does very little for him. It's not a huge advantage, and it's 2,700 gold. You know, that could be a Force Staff, that could be a Glimmer Cape, that could be so many other items with gold to change. Charge on Fonda here. Oh, he actually doesn't phase shift it, so he'll get the chainsaw. Yep. That's just a dead hero.
Oof.
It's a
he
bit of a...
He didn't see it coming. You look at Dire Vision right now, and they've got nothing.
And he came through the trees, so that was a really good angle for what's his name? Z-Freak to go for the charge. So really nice kill there. Dead puck for 55 seconds. And
Envy now going to find himself in a world of hurt. Stormbolt.
Wow.
Stopped by the BKB, but just look how much damage the Sven's able to do with God's Strength and Mask of Madness.
And he didn't BKB himself, so that was a Eternal Envy BKB there. Cooldown now for 50 seconds, and they go for the push. Now, Sven won't have his ulti in addition to that, but I think that's a decent trade. They have enough burst damage where if they shut down or if they initiate on Gyrocopter, they can definitely kill him.
Yeah, and Spindle now, he's making up for that lost damage. He's got the completed Scotty, so also very tanky in the front lines. There is a glyph for this Dire side. They will have the reset tool. Though Fly still off to the side. Not as farmed as he was in the last game, but closing in on that Aghanim's only a couple hundred gold away.
He's still completely making an impact this game. I think he's doing just fine. They also have a Lotus Orb picked up on Darkseer now. I really like Moon's item progression. I think he got a perfect balance of items this game. He's got enough mana pool. He's got the survivability. The only thing you can maybe argue is maybe he should have gotten a Pipe instead of a Lotus or maybe the Crimson, but his HP balance and his damage block balance is really good. And the Lotus is great for a couple reasons. There's a lot of spells you can reflect, such as track. If you can track back the bounty, that's really good. You can reflect Rubik's spells. You can reflect a life drain from Pugna. But the really cool one is just, it's a dispel, so you can remove track from your allies. So if somebody and he's also got the Glimmer Cape. So if somebody's dying and they're tracked, he can Glimmer Cape and Lotus Orb, and the track goes away. So it's really synergistic, and it allows him to play like a support role despite being a Darkseer.
Yeah. All right, still the slow siege from Complexity here. They're trying to pressure multiple lanes at once. They're split pushing with Fly in the top and the other four kind of poking at the mid, but being very cautious here, not really overcommitting or forcing the issue, just trying to keep Cloud9 split and prevent them from farming. They already took out this big stack of Ancients that Cloud9 had, so even though they're not pushing that aggressively, they're still stopping Cloud9 from farming and pulling further ahead. Now Fly gets his Aghanims completed, has it delivered, and they'll further the split push. 2 in the bottom, 2 in the mid, and 1 in the top.
So the BKB becomes less and less of a good item for the Gyrocopter. He's only got 1,600 HP on the Strength Treads, and now Lina does 950 pure of that, and they don't have a Grave. What's the solution? I don't even know if there is one anymore. Like Decrep isn't a solution, really. It stops some physical damage, but...
Yeah, I guess it can maybe keep him alive after the Laguna comes out if there aren't raises to follow, but that's even still kind of scraping the barrel. All right, it's more slow siege here. Swindle with about 2 minutes left on his Aegis. Wouldn't mind getting popped here so that he can come back to life. Though, of course, would like to keep it as long as possible. Envy uses the BKB again to juke the stun. Now, out comes the call down. Connects on 3. Swindle will throw away the Aegis intentionally here with that second call down. Tier 3 towers down. There is still a glyph for the Dire. Now Complexity in a great spot. Ziz will use his BKB. God's Strength popped as well. They want to go for the barracks. The glyph will force them to back out and reset. But now Moon comes in. Big vacuum wall, but falls just a little bit short. Big opportunity there, but can't quite seize the day, and maybe Complexity will just back out.
And Misery also stole Warcry there, so that'll make it much harder for Shadow Fiend to do damage to any core, and even the Sven is going to be a bit limited there. So I think that was a good time to retreat for Complexity. They lost their Aegis, they whiffed their ultimates. It's time to retreat and play it safe. They're already still ahead. Back off, farm a little bit. Your opponents are going to know exactly where you are because you tracked up all of them, but at some point those will time out, and then they still have to kind of sit in their base. Maybe they should go for like a 5-man smoke right now. Just grab the smoke, move out, go for kills while they
they found Envy off to the side. He's in a lot of trouble here. He gets a call down. He does have the BKB available. Glimmer Cape just barely keeps him alive. Now Ziz and Z-Freak will be turned on. Moon Meander nearby, but can't do much to save his friends. Z-Freak charging across. Homing Missile will chase him down, but he'll make as much space as possible before dying. The rest of his team hanging out that mid lane of Barracks saying, let's go for this. They're all committed far out of the base. Yeah, Gem goes down. A lot of TPs home. And unfortunately for Complexity, they won't get much damage, if any, on these barracks here in the mid. So
that's exactly what you got to do. After you defend from the base, you have to go for those kills. And they found 2 import heroes, and they got the gems. That means no more C and Viz for Complexity. That means Bounty can start moving out a bit more. They can find all the observer wards on the map, of which there are almost none. So maybe in a bit here we'll see Complexity put wards, and probably in slightly worse positions because they do have to put them on the high ground.
Peculiar ward spot here. I think they were going for that big spot up here, perhaps, but wasted observer.
That one is very peculiar, actually. Maybe they don't know about the high ground spot, but I completely agree with you. There's no point to put it there if you could put it up on the top. It might have been a mistake. Maybe he was trying to do a sentry, and it was during the team fight, so he accidentally placed that instead.
Oh, Swindle in the danger zone here, being stalked out by Big Daddy. But it will be all right for now. Full Daedalus on the Shadow Fiend. So seeing that early MKB will alter his build. Last game he went for the BKB at this point after the Scotty.
The butterfly.
Yeah, the butterfly, I'm sorry. But now going for the Daedalus.
I like the Daedalus here, especially because the Sven has been lacking in damage big time. He's easily an item behind the Gyrocopter. He's just got his AC, which is great, but his damage against a single target is good but not amazing, and it's also very limited around his ultimate. His damage is poor when he doesn't have his ultimate up, so he needs to make up for that, and he needs to go for the big item. Might
find Big Daddy. They might get their gem back. He's carrying the gem. Sentry ward out of range, but they've got another one. Down he goes.
So close.
Huge for Complexity as they can regain some map control and, of course, have something to deal with that Bounty Hunter.
That was a great attempt by Bounty Hunter to stay alive. He Glimmer Caped. It almost went off in time, but he was still slightly within Sentry ward range, so he ends up getting killed, and the gem is recovered. And Complexity pressures back on Dead Hero as well, so this gives him a chance to push. Oh, but a butterfly up for Gyro. That means that they can't hit him reliably, so his HP is much higher now versus physical damage.
But it also means he doesn't have buyback. He's gone all in on this item here. No buybacks available for Cloud9 whatsoever, including Big Daddy, who is in the grave already. Ziz with the BKB, God Strength on. They get the melee barracks, and now they just back out. They see that Envy's used his BKB. They absolutely don't want to fight this now, as they've already gotten their objective.
Are they going to Lotus Orb this? Will it reflect? I'm not sure.
I think you have to have the Lotus Orb on when he casts it, not when it hits.
That's kind of weird, because it's the opposite for Linken's. They changed the way Linken's works now, but I guess it would be a little too good if you could do that.
Yeah. So, I believe that's...
Yeah, so again, the blink after in the late game scenario with Sven, but the important thing with that is it allows him to land a stun. He's been throwing stuns up, but people can very easily blink dodge it at this caliber. They're looking for a kill, though. This is what they need to do. They're smoking out of their base. They can't initiate on Spirit Breaker. They need to grab more heroes than just that.
Yeah, they're trying to bait with Envy here, but it seems like Complexity are suspicious of a Gyrocopter by himself this far forward.
This is the first time they've left the base in like 20 minutes. Yeah. Of course it's suspicious when he just walks up. He's willing to farm aggressively, but it's always in hidden areas. It's never in the mid lane, so Complexity are completely reading this action from Cloud9.
Oh, now Cloud9, they take the high ground. Zig,
good.
He's going to walk right into it. He has the BKB, but can't even get it off. A nice quick pick on the Sven. Lena's not even here, but Misery will...
great Glimmer.
He gets off Glimmer. He'll stay alive. Now Swindle. BKB Requiem connects only on Envy. Phase shift from Fata will keep him safe, and yeah, he'll get surged back. He'll be all right. Fata, he did have to burn his Dream Coil, but still, Cloud9 want to continue fighting. Envy goes in, call down, connects on Moon Meander, but again, the Glimmer Cape helps him reset, and he'll be just fine.
That was pretty good damage control for Complexity. They only got the melee barracks, and they played it safe by backing off, but losing the Sven there. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication. Like, I think they were really sure that C9 was still mid lane, and they did a very nice wraparound there. It was obvious that their opponents kind of thought they were there, and like, you can't just walk uphill like that. It's very, very dangerous, because especially if you're a BKB carrier, because you just die, and his team wasn't there to back him up either. Not that a Glimmer Cape was going to save him. I think he was dead no matter what. So a big kill, and that allows C9 to grab the Aegis. So
Aegis and Cheese. This is Roche number 3. Yeah. So big pickup there. They did put down 3 Observer wards in this mid lane, but the gem still on the Spirit Breaker. He's just going to clear those out.
Will they find the ward mid? Is that? Oh yeah, they didn't actually see it. They'll probably catch that later. Jar grabs the Aegis. Again, he's got MKB and a butterfly, so his items are actually in a good position here. He's got the advantage over the butterfly that Shadowfiend might eventually pick up, and they don't have the MKB against the Gyro. Though I think Shadowfiend will build it next. Again, with the Sven being a little underfarmed, he's got to commit the Shadowfiend, that is, to the full damage, in my opinion. So once he gets that, Gyro will again be no problem. But until then, it's a little unreliable.
Well, Big Daddy gets a courier snipe. Minor victory there. Did have just a singleton smoke.
That's an impact. I don't know if he checked items before he hit it or not, but that should give them the knowledge that the smoke ganks are not likely for a bit. Looks like they do have an extra one.
Yeah.
They haven't been smoking that much. It's kind of an interesting way to play. They just have such good like team play fundamentals that they don't even need to smoke. They know where their opponents are. They pressure the lane very well by themselves. They just always know where their opponents are in most cases, with the exception of the last death. But it seems like they're not relying on smokes to get advantage like a lot of teams do.
Yeah, definitely not. Though they will buy that next one straight away. Fly's already picked it up. So
there's a BKB on Lino, what the heck? But the Ags on Puck makes things a little harder. The way this works is if you cast it on somebody pre-BKB, if they BKB and run through the Puck ult, it'll still trigger. So if he gets shown here on the map, oh, might see Eternal Envy dying. If Puck shows his Ags on the map, and Complexity see this, they'll adjust their play. But if he comes from Darkness, ulties, there's a real chance of stunning all of the BKB carries for like 4 seconds or whatever the heck the huge duration is. 4.5 seconds on the break stun duration. So even though they have BKBs, it's massive.
Yep. Cuts right through. One of those reveals you want to use to as much of an advantage as possible. Z-Freak, he is the gem carrier, very far forward, but does have a Shadow Blade. Just needs to be a little bit careful. Definitely does not want to go for solo kill onto Bone 7 as Fata is in the neighborhood. Though Sven doing the same. He comes up with the Blink Dagger, forces Fata into a more defensive position, and now Z-Freak goes right on to Bone 7. Fata's nowhere to be found, and this should be a nice, easy solo pickoff here. He does have an Aghanim Scepter, as he can keep spamming out that life drain, but it's not going to be enough. BKB used by Ziz, and they'll just chop him to pieces.
Ah, man, I really don't like his item build this game. Like, the Soul Booster was cool because Pugden does need some HP in the early game. If you're going to build all of these other items after you build the Soul Booster, what's the point, man? Like, just get a Vitality Booster and build something else. Like, he could use the Soul Booster, I'm sorry, the Point Booster in the Soul Booster to just build an Eggs. And he had Brown Boots almost the entire game. That could have been an Arcane Boots. Like, all of these items that he spent, he was probably the best performing, at least best performing on his team in the early game, with the exception of maybe Gyro. And he just didn't get that much value and that much utility out of it. I wonder if this game could have been different. Like, he played last game fantastic, and he had a good start here, but his itemization, I think, has really hurt him this game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. If he could have gotten that Octarine, it potentially could have made a difference, but now we'll hold that thought as Big Daddy gets set up on the turn from Fata, but now the follow-up's there. He does phase shift the stun. Big Daddy gets Glimmer Cape. That'll help them reset this fight once more. Fly caught by the stolen LSA. Now he's Glimmer Caped. Lotus Orb onto Ziz. Another phase shift from Fata. Ziz will use his Warcry here with God Strength coming up in just about 5 seconds. Minor exchange, but
that was really nice poking from both teams. Like, as soon as Misery stole the stun, he just went right back in, and both teams just positioning. Like, that was amazing positioning from Complexity. The fact that nobody else died there, on their team at least, they immediately Glimmer Caped as soon as they saw danger. It was really well done. They're thinking a step ahead consistently in these team fights, and it shows.
Yeah, now the Vladimir's offering picked up by Z-Freak. More armor coming out for Complexity, itemizing in a similar fashion as they did in the last game against the Gyro, with the AC on top of the Warcry, on top of the Vlads. Makes a big difference against this flat cannon, and we already talked about that Crimson Guard that was picked up a while ago. More big items though here, Purge. Envy secured his Satanic as the Shadow Fiend gets his MKB. So
his damage is good now. We don't always see this with SF. A lot of times they build for tankiness into HP, and then eventually one damage item. Well, he's got 2 on top of all that tankiness and HP, so this is the part where Shadow Fiend is very, very serious as a damage dealer, because he has that free built-in AC, more or less, because of the -6 armor from his presence. And, of course, he's got Necromastery, so he's actually a pretty good late-game hard carry. He's not the best, but he's very solid based on his farm rate, and Snow Melons has played excellent this game. He's got 474 last hits. It is incredible. 5-1 and 4, awesome performance from him. But the only lacking that he got out of this is that the mech is gone. He had to sell, because at this stage in the game, a damage item is far better, so they have slightly less heal going into their team fights from here on out.
Yeah, this is that point where it would be nice if the Darks here could get Guardian Greaves.
That would be okay, I think. Mech is kind of weak late game because it's such a low percentage of your heal, but it might be worth it, honestly, the next item. It adds a lot of value, and it's only about a 4,000 gold item for the upgrade.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of expensive, but
dealing with slots will be the next big issue here.
The charge is coming, they're split.
They're going for Eternal Envy. He's the charge target. They've got the gem as well. Oh, stun on 2. The cleave from Sven. The 2 from Cloud9 just evaporate.
The Shadow Blade on Spirit Breaker sets that up perfectly. Like, even if they didn't come from the trees there, he's invisible as he's charging, so it's so hard to see coming. Stun lands, they get the chain stun, no BKB on Gyro.
Is this like GG though? Envy's down for over a minute. He has no buyback here, Purge.
It's certainly a Rax unless C9 pulls out something amazing right now, and they're just not 5-manning as much as Complexity is.
They glyph it straight away, and now the tier 3 tower will be exposed. Hex onto Swindle.
Did they Lotus Orb that, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Now Swindle initiated on, he'll pop his BKB. The Dream Coil has been used, but it's only on one.
Oh, he broke his tether. He's stunned for 4.5 seconds. That gives them some advantage here. The ward's almost a great stun from Misery. Ziz is going to go down. The Nether Ward does end up falling, and they're trying to do their best to hold them back. Gyro's up in 34 seconds. No Tail goes down, though, so 2 versus 1. Decent initiation as whole. Z3 goes in. Oh, great lift from Misery.
Beautifully done. They're still taking the barracks, so they've got another 20 seconds before Envy comes up. No buyback on Big Daddy. Now Misery just falls apart. The gem hits the dick. Buyback used by the Sven. Does he have BOT to get back into the fight? He does not. He's going to do it the old-fashioned way. Uphill both ways. Now the neck purchased by Moon. He actually is going to go for the Guardian Greaves that we were just talking about as they rotate mid to finish off the range barracks. That's now a 2-lane of barracks advantage for Complexity. And even though Cloud9 will hang on a little bit longer, their fate in this series not looking good.
And they might as well keep pressuring this, even though it's kind of a scary situation with Sven being dead. They still have 2 dead heroes, 1 dead hero. Bounty Hunter does not have buyback here. Rubik buying back. Are they going to initiate first? Envy.
He comes out the other side.
He
just gets destroyed. He still doesn't have a buyback. He's out of the game for a minute and a half, and now it seems to be all over for Cloud9. Wow. They call the GG, and Complexity take a 2-0 over C9 in a very impressive series. What a performance from this team.
This team is just so good. Like, every single one of their players knows their roles, and they're playing full teamwork. Every single time, they're always on the same page with some very, very rare exceptions. They're playing the map correctly. They understand Dota at the highest level. It's so clear to see, and they're